US is messed up. There's a reason why he died in America and he wouldn't die here in South Africa under the hands of the cops if they had approached him. It wasn't going to end up that way for a reason. It's not like we don't have cops in South Africa. We do. But we don't have people being shot by the cops every day just because you were either even if you was trespassing. That would have ended differently here in this country. All right, morning, guys. Once again, I seem like the bearer of bad news lately. It's just been crazy all over right now. It's just bad news left, right, and center. There's a Cape Town fires that are happening, and I am I'm hesitant to even comment about that because I don't even know how to comment about that or what to even talk about with regards to that. It's sad and it's terrible. It's wildfires that are spreading all over. But what's sadder or what's devastating the most is the fact that the library has been burning. I'm sure a lot of you have seen graphics of the library that's burning down. And yeah, the sad part is there's a lot of relics and a lot of materials that they are losing in terms of, the historical precious relics, literature that hasn't been digitized, apparently. So as I was saying about there's a lot of precious relics that have been lost due to the fires that have been going on, that have been raging throughout the Cape Town library, the university, and throughout the suburbs. It's moving towards the suburbs now, and a lot of people have been evacuated. You read about the stories. What's sad for me is the fact that a lot of the manuscripts and photographs that date back to the 1800s haven't been digitized, and there are no copies of those. A lot of manuscripts, which to me, it just puzzles me to this day. Why are we not digitizing things in this digital age and era? And I don't mean to come hard on anybody right now during this point in time, because everybody's just freaking out right now, and I think we're all just sort of like in survival mode. And the firefighters who have been deployed, more than about 200 or so firefighters who have been deployed to combat this scourge of the fires right now. It's everybody just holding hands together. But I think there's a life lesson in there, and I say this not to take a jab on anybody, but it's just something funny about us South Africans or the South African government and institutions. It's like we wait for something terrible to happen, and then we start doing something about it. Digital migration with regards to the SABC, they missed the deadline by years. Okay, digital terrestrial migration that was supposed to happen way back. I bet they still haven't even now, man. Where are we with regards to this? Let me just look this up right now. They've been in the progress of finalizing. Digital migration deadline slips to 2023. Are you kidding me? Goodness gracious. Deadline slips to 2023. Okay, when are we gonna get there? I'm pretty sure that we're supposed to have done that more than almost 8 years. It's almost like a decade now. You know what I mean? It's like we always wait for something to happen before we act about it. There's a reason why we have technology, guys. We don't have to wait for something terrible to happen until we start preserving things and implementing all the right security measures. And do we have to wait for some bombings to happen in the country until we start putting some measures? I remember talking to one of the cinemas about shootings and stuff like that. Because, we hear a lot about shootings in America, bombings happening in America. Somebody walks in a cinema and starts shooting everybody. And I ask a lot of questions to organizations. Do you guys have any implementations that could prevent any situation where I'm imagining myself, if I was living in America, you're watching a movie, some crazy guy walks in, starts shooting everybody. What do? It could happen in South Africa. Just because it's not happening yet, if yet is a concern, or somebody could be upset with Technic or New Metro or whatever, or with the government, they just decide, you know what, I'm just going to go shoot everybody. Do we have to wait for something like that to happen before we start implementing measures? Because there's nothing that detects weapons or deadly weapons, or if somebody is carrying something deadly to harm people with it. Anybody could just walk in a cinema with a gun, or the mall with a gun, or whatever the case may be. Why do we have to wait for something bad to happen until we start implementing some measures? When people die, it's not like an acceptable loss, but we treat it like it's an acceptable loss. And that's just kind of what gets to me a little bit. All right, with that said, anyway, talking about shootings and everything, Lindani Myeni, I'm sure you all have heard about the story about Lindani Myeni, who's being shot fatally in the US right now. And I hate the way they cover the story in the US, and a lot of people talking crap on social media, asking what the heck was he doing in somebody's yard, or whatever the case may be. People just asking stupid questions. Like, okay, so why didn't he comply when the police were asking him to get down on the ground? Well, how was he supposed to know that they are the police? I didn't hear them identifying themselves. That's one of the arguments that has been raised as well. I'm sure you guys have probably seen the video. If you haven't watched the video, maybe I'll just put it up for you guys to look at it. It's very graphic. My God, I can't imagine, because I've always wondered, I'm sure we all wonder, what it's like being a black person in America. We know what it's like being a black person already, but this goes to highlight a lot of things that a lot of people don't seem to really understand out there about an issue like this. They're asking questions like, okay, some dude online saying the police say to get down and you attack them. Not hard to figure out who's in the wrong there. Oh yeah, sure, you're the genius. They did not identify. You have to identify yourself. You got to understand, he's a South African. In South Africa, the police always have to identify themselves. They do. Okay? It's relevant. They have to identify themselves all the time. If you do not, we don't know who you are. And on top of that, there are situations where some people pose themselves to be the police and they are not the police. Okay? So it's not that simple for somebody to just believe that, oh, there's a guy who's got a torch in my face and he's walking up to me holding a gun and I'm supposed to just get down on the ground. Like, who the heck are you? It's weird. Let me tell you something here, okay? Because there's a lot of weird people are talking nonsense online here, and they're really kind of missing the point. Maybe because you're so used to being in that type of situation and mentality that, to you it's normal for the cops to just walk up to people and do things that they do. Maybe for you guys out there it's normal. It's not normal in other parts of the world, okay? I can be in a neighborhood and park my car and just sit by the parking lot or by the roadside. In South Africa, you can do that. There's a lot of situations whereby, I drove to a Bible study in a different neighborhood, and I think I was late. I was late by 5 minutes or something, and it was in the evening. Okay, it's one of those neighborhoods, that are different. There's a lot of different people there, and so I parked my car outside, start ringing the door because I was a little bit late. They had already closed the door because it's in the evening, obviously. It was a home Bible study or home cell, and I can imagine if I was in the United States and I'm outside in a different neighborhood and somebody sees this black guy who's just lingering around people's front yard. Maybe I decide to sit down on the grass or whatever the case may be because I'm familiar with the area. So that means that somebody could just call the cops for me, wielding a gun in my face because there's a mysterious guy who's trespassing or he's in front of your lawn or your yard or whatever the case may be. Well, maybe I'm visiting a neighbor or I'm asking for directions. Sometimes when we don't know where we are, I'm just gonna chill, wait for somebody, be on my Wi-Fi, whatever the case may be. It's public area. We also don't know why he was there on top of that. But the point of the matter for me that really gets to me is the fact that what was he doing? Okay? Why was he there? There are so many questions that are unanswered. There's a woman who's in distress saying, well, there's a guy who's there. There's so many weird things to this story. They say he was trespassing in somebody's front yard, or somebody else was saying there's a suspicious man who's in his car. Somebody was saying, they're saying different things. He entered someone's home without permission. Who said he entered somebody's home without permission? You gotta be kidding me. People just talking nonsense out there. He's a South African. He's behaving like a South African. The way he's reacting is like a South African. You can hear he's terrified when you say, hey, he's trying to intimidate them so that they can leave him alone. Okay, that's how you react as a South African, typically. So somebody who's a foreigner probably wouldn't understand that because, well, you just don't get it. So here's the thing: what I don't understand about the cops' reactions. Number one, why are you telling somebody to put that to go down on the ground when you haven't identified yourself or introduced yourself properly or ask him proper questions? You know what I'm saying? Because they've got a gun and everything. The whole situation is just so messed up. It's weird. Some people are saying that it's negligent. The lawyers are saying that in as much as the reporters and the cops senior commented on the issue and said that, you know, they're proud of the way they handle themselves, the way they handle the issue. Oh, God almighty. US is messed up. There's a reason why he died in America and he wouldn't die here in South Africa under the hands of the cops if they had approached him. It wasn't going to end up that way for a reason. You know, it's not like we don't have cops in South Africa. We do. But we don't have people being shot by the cops every day. Just because you were either in a... Even if you was trespassing, that would have ended differently here in this country. Ah, goodness gracious. Because they believe that they were defending themselves against somebody who was aggressive. Like I said, there are so many different issues, so many different things that highlight just the big differences in culture, the cultures that raise us, our environments. Okay, our environment in South Africa here, the way we interact with the cops is very different. The way they interact with cops in the US is very, very different as well. It's sad. This is a really sad situation. I think it's just one of those situations where, you know, Americans are really used to terrorizing each other. They are used to domestic terror to a point where it's become normal. And every single situation that happens where someone loses their life, we need to look for a way to justify the cops that, okay, yeah, he didn't comply. Oh, yeah, he was big and strong. Oh, yeah, it was out in the dark. The cops couldn't have seen that coming somehow. Yo, we're talking about somebody who got shot down, okay? Somebody who died because of a bad choice of how to properly approach an individual. He wasn't acting, he was reacting. But like I said, there's a whole lot of different dynamics involved that I just need to understand. Probably I'll follow the story up to see what was happening, why was he there, and you know, to get more answers and everything. But this is messed up because it meant... Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to follow this story up and maybe have a follow-up video to this. You guys take care of yourself out there and God bless. And do like the video and do leave a comment and do tell me what you think about this crazy nonsense, you know? Because it's just crazy everywhere. Alright, cheers and God bless.